Ladies and gentlemen, we're back.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go.
Seeking wisdom.
This is what we're talking about.
A real book. We were reviewing a real book.
I actually cannot believe we've gone almost 120 episodes and we have not reviewed this book.
Little humble brag. You know, there's a picture out there with me, DG, and Robert.
Yeah.
Cialdini.
Yeah.
Cialdini. Is how he says it.
Yeah.
But
wow, that's right. Tell them that story.
We were hanging with our homie.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Dice.
Yeah.
And Ryan Dice runs a company called Digital Marketer. I was speaking at his conference called Traffic and Conversion.
Yeah.
And fantastic person who's going to be on the podcast later on. He's a homie. Yeah. Anyway, we were backstage.
Well, actually, hold on. So the real, so DC was backstage where the VIP speakers go. Okay. I was trying to find him, and I go backstage, and he's sitting on this couch next to this older gentleman, and the two of them are just talking. And I'm like,
and who was that guy?
I'm like, oh my God, that's Robert Cialdini. And DC's like, hey, I want you to meet somebody. I'm like, what is happening right now? And this guy, we post a picture. Best part of it, though, he has 6 principles, which we're going to talk about today. You'll intro that. He reaches in his pocket, and he hands me a little card, a little cheat sheet.
Yeah.
And it had the 6 principles on it.
That is awesome. I wish I don't have my card.
When did you first hear about this book? When it came out?
Wow.
No.
Do you see that?
I didn't mean it like that.
Do you see that?
That was in the 80s. That was not an attack. That was not an attack.
It's like in 1962. Did you is that how you heard the book? Man, cold-blooded here.
Come on.
All right. It's okay. So, no, I did not hear of this book when it first came out, which was in 1984. All right. I don't remember what year I heard of this book, but I've read this book for many years, at least a decade now.
Here's what I meant to say is
when DHD was 2.
When did this book start taking off in the marketing world? It wasn't.
I don't
because
even
it wasn't
know
a
if
marketing
it even
book.
took off in the marketing world. I don't remember how I found it, but I came across this book at least a decade ago.
Okay.
And the book is called Influence. And if you are a marketer and you're listening to this podcast and you have not read this book, you're a poser. I'm sorry, dude. You're not a marketer.
It's a fact.
Dude or dudette, you're not a marketer.
Actually,
until you read this book called Influence.
To prep for this, I actually just...
Sorry, I didn't mean to harm you calling you a poser, but you need to read this book.
No, it's true. I brought all my notes, my Kindle notes from this book. It's just like pages.
Anyway, I read this book at least a decade ago. It is it's probably the first book that I would read if you're interested in marketing or sales. If you're in sales too, you need to read this book. And it basically goes over why we make how we make decisions and why we make those decisions. And Robert Cialdini goes into this. And guess what? You know who recommends this book?
Who?
Who's that over there?
Oh, your boys? Your boys,
right
Warren and Charlie?
He
does?
Charlie Munger.
He does.
If you know me, you know I've talked about cognitive biases. And go look for the video on YouTube called The 25 Cognitive Biases, Human Misjudgment. And that is an interview with Charlie Munger.
Yes.
And in Charlie Munger's interview, the first thing that he says is that this is the book that blew him away, that led him understand cognitive biases, the book Influence right here.
So is that what you should do when you say go right to the top? If Charlie Munger says read this book, should you read the book?
Pretty good. My old uncle over there, 90-something years old, billionaire, I think is okay.
So the point that he makes is that we all have these he calls them automatic behaviors, and there's things that we are just naturally biased to do and prone to do that make us really vulnerable to buying, to making decisions. What's the matter?
I don't know how you could be a marketer and not have read this book.
Oh, that's tough. You know, we should probably give it away.
We should give it away. How are we going to give it away?
You got to listen. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the book. There's 6 principles. We're going to run through them each. But here's what you're going to do. If you're going to listen to this podcast right now, I want you to take a screenshot on your phone. Do the screenshot thing. Okay? Do the screenshot thing. The first 10 people that do that, tweet at us. Tweet at you, because they need to show you. They need to admit that they didn't read it yet, which is okay, because humility is a big part of this, right? So they're going to take a screenshot and then tweet, hey, you can't say at DCancel first, because then a lot of people still see it, but you need to say, hey, at DCancel, can I get a copy of Influence?
All right, do that on Twitter.
Okay.
And that's the first 10 only on Twitter. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
But for everyone else,
Twitter
if you
only.
miss out on the Twitter thing, I want you to take a screenshot of this book.
Okay.
Post it on your Instagram feed.
On the feed.
No private messages. Put it on your feed and say, I want this book, and we will send you a copy of this book.
Yeah, tag Hey Drift, at Hey Drift. That's pretty good. We're going to give this book to a ton of people
Robert Cialdini
All
right
right.
here. All right,
I love
let's
it.
get into it.
Let's talk about the 6 things. I'm gonna tell them, and I want you to do I'm gonna run through the 6 principles, and you narrate.
He's quizzing me.
You narrate. No, I'm gonna tell you what they are. You just comment. Okay, so there's 6 principles, right? And they're basically all these automatic behaviors that we have. So number 1, reciprocity. Okay, he says we all have a natural obligation to reciprocate. What does that mean to you from a marketing perspective?
Yeah, so a great example of reciprocity is, have you ever been over to, DHG is too young, so she hasn't been. Have you ever been over to Costco?
I have.
Okay. So you go to Costco.
But I don't know where you're going with this.
Okay. You go into Costco.
Yeah.
And you walk around, and there are all these people that are sitting there with little tasters.
The samples?
The samples, right? So you go up to the samples.
I never thought of the samples as reciprocity.
Come on, man.
Damn.
You go up to the samples. So you go into Costco, and they have these people that are standing that are free samples. And it'll be samples of chips, samples of drinks, samples of candy, samples of heated food, frozen food. And what they're doing, because Costco got that from you know who they got that from?
Who?
Sam Walton.
Pretty good.
Walmart.
Pretty
Okay.
good.
So they got that. And so what that is an example of reciprocity. If you take a sample from someone, you're more inclined to want to do business with that person or want to even buy that product. That is why they have those samples out there. And so that's an example of reciprocity.
He says another person can trigger a feeling of indebtedness by doing us an uninvited favor. So even if the favor is uninvited, even if you didn't want it, if I say, hey, you go have this.
And that's how come we're willing to do something. I'm willing to do something for anyone who leaves a 6-star review. Shouts out Amy and DHD in there.
In all honesty, that's why we're okay with spending a bunch of money buying books and giving them away, because you're going to help spread the word for the show.
Yep.
We're going to give you this book.
Exactly.
All
It's just goodness.
So number 1, reciprocity. Number 2, by the way, this is like this. You don't have to read the book. You have to read the book, but we're giving it to you.
It's okay.
Okay,
you don't have to read it.
Number one, reciprocity. And by the way, this is literally a checklist that Cialdini gave us. He gave us a card. It is on my desk now. This is if you know one thing about marketing.
You should have seen.
It was the coolest thing.
You should have seen
It was the coolest thing. I should get it.
He was like a little kid.
He gave me this little card.
His eyes were shiny.
I keep it in my notebook. You don't need anything else. You follow these 6 things. So number 1, I was amazing.
It was like Santa Claus.
It was really cool. It was really cool. Number 1, reciprocity. Number 2 is social proof.
Come on, social
This is
proof.
one that seems so obvious to marketers, but how many websites do you go to? How many landing pages do you go to that there's no social proof?
All of them, all the bad ones. Even the first versions of most of our pages. And one of the first things that I point out is that we need social proof. So an example of social proof is you need faces and testimonials, right? You need, if you've ever watched an infomercial, you know that 80% of the infomercial, if not 90% of the infomercial, is testimonials, right? One after another, after another, after another.
You know who is a legendary testimonial guy?
Who?
A legendary social proof.
Who?
Billy Mays.
Billy Mays, testimony. DHG is too young for that. She's like, what's
Billy Mays.
What's an infomercial?
Billy Mays would literally smash his foot with a hammer to show you that his foot was not getting injured.
Yeah,
that is social proof. He would seal up a thing and then put water in it and show you.
Yeah, the testimonials were the social proof. So that's the social proof. So everything has to have social proof because we make decisions based on that. If you go to Amazon.com and you go buy a product, you will see the ratings and reviews. And the reason the ratings and reviews are there are to trigger social proof.
Social proof number 2.
Actually, almost all of these things that we're talking about
Amazon
is on the Amazon product page. And so we'll maybe, if you're good, we'll give you an example of, we did a mock-up. I did a markup of an Amazon page showing, this was internal only at Drift, showing people how all of these things are triggered on every Amazon page.
And so Cialdini is he's a doctor. He's a psychologist, right? PhD. And he said the scientific definition is one means we use to determine what is correct is to find out what other people think is correct, right? So if you're making a decision, show me the 10 people who already did this. I'm more likely to do it. So that's number 2, social proof. Number 3 is really underrated, I think. Not a lot of people talk about this one. And this one is commitment. You remember this one?
Yeah, I remember all of these.
I know you do.
So commitment. Charlie Munger would call this commitment consistency bias.
Yes.
Right? If you look at that. I can't believe
pretty good. That's
the young
pretty
guy
good.
trying to quiz me on cognitive bias.
Elias, come in here. Elias, come in here. We're talking about Cialdini.
Oh, when you guys met him?
Yeah.
What happened with Cialdini?
We're just talking about his book, the principles, social proof, commitment, reciprocity.
Elias is shy.
This is the first time he's ever been shy. Unbelievable. Like this is a live broadcast.
All right. So commitment, consistency. This is how we do things here at Drift. Commitment, consistency bias.
Yes.
So the bias here is, and the way that Charlie Munger describes it, is that once we make a decision, we are more likely to stick to our decisions and be stubborn about that decision, and that's called commitment consistency. So the more, as soon as we make a commitment, we have a bias to want to stick to that commitment and not retreat from that.
This is why the gym membership thing is such a powerful model, right?
Mm-hmm. Because the gym membership thing is a perfect example here, right? So gym membership, the way that model works is that you join, and somewhere like a Planet Fitness, which is big in the United States, you go, it's like $9.99 a month, $9.99. It costs nothing. But once you've made that commitment, you almost never cancel, because in the mind, and this is commitment bias, in the mind you think, I'm going to go next week. I'm going to go next month.
Yeah.
Why would I cancel it? It's just too much worry.
Or you don't cancel because you don't want what canceling your membership says right?
About you.
You might have never gone. You might have never gone to the gym once in that year.
Yeah.
But if you cancel it, I'm not looking at you. If you cancel it, then you know that the chance is never going to happen. And so by keeping your membership open, you know you're more likely to go.
I went to the gym today.
You did?
Yeah, YMCA.
Respect.
YMCA.
Okay.
All
the
right.
Y, what's up?
I also belong to the Equinox,
Okay.
but I went to the Y.
All right. So reciprocity, number 1, social proof, number 2, commitment, number 3, number 4 is authority. And the point that he makes with authority is that we're all influenced by authority, even if we don't know it. And so this is like getting higher, people with bigger job titles, or pushing, messages from the president or the CEO, or putting your face on a letter that we write out to people,
and
right?
So a perfect combination of the authority bias and the social proof bias is that you'll try to get someone. Imagine that this book, on the book page, that there was a testimonial from a former president.
Come on.
Right? And so that hits two things, authority bias
I didn't even think
and
of that.
social proof bias, right? So you got social proof and you have authority mixed in there. And so that's why people tend to choose people with elevated status, whether it's professionals, influencers, or business people. It's because it's hitting on multiple biases here.
Because he says we all fall for even the perception of authority.
Yep.
Yeah.
It always works.
Which is one of my pet peeves, which is the 6-person startup where everyone is a VP or C-level person. That's not here. Okay, scarcity. Come on. You could do an hour. You could do it. How many texts have you sent me in my life about scarcity?
Scarcity. Everyone forgets the scarcity part. So again, a perfect example of this. Go to Amazon, go to a product listing page, and often on that product listing page, you'll see a little thing that's right at the top. And you know what that little thing says? It says, only 2 left. We'll be getting more. We'll get more next week, but two items are left. And what that triggers in you is that they're going to run out. So, but they hit you with another thing. It's not misleading. It's not saying, I'm never going to get any of these. We're going to get more next week. But if you want this week, we only have 2 left.
Yeah, if you want it in your house by Saturday, you better get it now.
Exactly. And then they trigger it again one other way, which is if you order in the next 1 hour, we can have this to you by tomorrow, right? And if you order 2 hours later, it's going to take 2 days.
Urgency and scarcity
in
one
scarcity
bucket
together.
So, but what I learned from this, and then thinking about how we apply this, is he says that it's actually the thing with scarcity is the loss is more powerful than the gain. Is people
Loss aversion.
What we miss out on, the potential loss is what drives the behavior. Not that I have to get this so bad, but oh my God, I'm going to miss out. Am I going to miss out on this if I don't get it now?
Absolutely. I think Charlie Munger calls out loss aversion. So one of the things that we don't want is forget the gain. We're more scared of loss. Right, so loss of status or loss of an opportunity.
I mean, it's the same thing, right? Like in one of your new favorite books, like Relentless, and your guy Tim Grover, right? If you talk to somebody like Michael Jordan, did Michael Jordan love winning so much, or did he hate losing?
He hated losing.
Hated losing. Okay, last one, number 6. I know number 6, and then we're out here because we just broke down the whole book. Number 6 is liking. People are easily persuaded by other people that they like.
Yes, and so liking bias. I think. I'm trying to remember what Charlie Munger calls this, but this is one of his as well. All of these are part of his, and then he expands into 25, right? This is only 6. So liking bias. Liking is this one is interesting because the more likable someone seems to you, and it might be totally someone that someone else would not like, the more willing you're to do business with them or to do something with them.
Yeah,
right?
this is why like those MLMs, like the multi-level marketing things, this is why they work so well, right?
Yeah.
The Mary Kay, the Tupperware, the whatever, because it's usually from somebody that you're friends with.
Totally. And this is actually the reverse of this is something that I'm always talking about internally here, which is one of the traps that we fall in with this bias right here, this liking bias, is that all of us are often unwilling to learn from people that we don't like because of this bias, right? And
yeah, say more, dive deeper in that. So like you use an example of somebody who people don't like.
Yeah.
Right?
Lots of it, yeah.
And the people just off,
right. Yeah, you can use anyone. You can use Kim Kardashian. I don't know anything about her. Yeah. Donald Trump, whatever.
No, I mean that's a popular one, right? The Trump example is a great one, right? People, there actually is marketing lessons in there, but people don't want to hear that.
Everything.
Yes,
but as soon as you mention someone that you don't like,
you're anchored to.
Then you're just like, then I can't listen to them.
Yeah.
I can't listen to them. I can't listen to them.
Yeah.
And we're not saying listen to them and be convinced by them, but analyze them and understand what did they do?
Why did that work?
Why did it work? Right. And so there's a lesson in everything. And so this bias holds us back from learning. Probably of all the biases that we listed here, the liking bias holds us back the most in terms of growth and learning.
That's a good one. I didn't think of that. All right, so there you go. There you have it. Those are your 6 principles. Let's recap them. Reciprocity, social proof, commitment, authority, scarcity, and liking.
Yeah, you said an interesting word there.
What?
6.
6.
Yeah, as in 6 stars.
Oh.
See?
Huh.
I like the number 6. So 6, there's 6 principles, there's 6 stars.
One for each.
So why don't you leave a 6-star review, open up that podcast, Apple Podcasts on your phone,
Yes.
Stitcher,
Yes.
leave 6-star reviews. I think I heard reports this week that they are still broken and you might have to leave 5. But then in the comments say, I was trying to leave 6.
Yeah.
Call out DHD, Amy. Never call out DG.
Don't call me out. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
And let us know how you like this. And let us know if you want a copy of Influence.
Don't
This
forget,
is the book.
Screenshot now. Right now. Screenshot on your phone. Post it on Instagram.
First 10.
Post it on Twitter.
Yeah, first 10 on Twitter who posts this.
Yeah.
And then anyone who puts it in their Instagram feed, we're going to get you a copy of this book. Robert Cialdini, gangster. Dude looked good for his age,
He looked real good. He had a suit, man. He had a pocket full of those cheat sheets, and that was amazing.
And just so you know, Robert Cialdini here holds dual appointments at Arizona State University. Shout it out, ASU.
Yeah.
Go Party.
It's pretty good.
Go Cardinals.
We're out of here.
Right,
Oh, that was pretty good. See ya.